So we'd like to welcome Crystal Guerrero to our Embrace Me Adoption and Foster Care group. And we want to thank you for coming.
Well, thank you for having me. Definitely opportunity of a lifetime.
Great.
Glad to help.
Right. So I was telling the audience here that we last met a year ago at your university.
Yeah, it was a great experience. Actually caught me by surprise. I didn't actually realize how much help people could be, how much help they'd want to give, and it was really exciting to have so many people support you, like you guys. It was really surprising and actually very, very lovely and helpful.
Great. So what we did for Embrace Me last year is we gathered 15 care packets, basket full of the dorm essentials that any person would need that's moving into like their own apartment. You know, that's an exciting time. And so I know that it was brought to our attention that a lot of the parents were coming in with their students, and a lot of our foster kids were coming without. And so once we heard that, we're like, oh no, we're going to do something about that. So we were able to do that last year.
Correct. Well, the packet was very, very helpful, especially with us who don't have anyone to move with, who maybe have our social workers help us move in, and we don't get a lot of stuff. Like, thinking about it, that package really had essentials that I wasn't able to purchase at the time. Maybe I didn't have income where I can buy sheets and lamps because the room would get very dark, or because the room would be very cold or it would be very hot. So the essentials that were in that packet were very, very helpful, and we wouldn't have thought any of that would have came to us. So we were very excited to have received those packages with things that we never even thought about saving up for. It was so unexpected, the move. We didn't know what we were going to receive, what we weren't going to receive. So it was actually really scary, but for that to have been there, it was very calming, and we were glad to have been able to be a part of it and to have you guys volunteer with all that stuff. And it was really, really cool and helpful, actually, especially to me. I know I was very grateful for that.
Well, I'm glad that I announced during the luncheon, I said, okay, we're from Water of Life Community Church, and if anybody needs a ride, just give me a call. And because that's what it's not just from us. I want you to know that and take it back to your friends and your colleagues, that it's from the Lord. And He wants to tell all of you to physically demonstrate His love for you by using God's people to do what we were called to do. And I know one of our scriptures in our brochure, if you look at our brochure for Embrace Me, it has James 2:15 and 16. And so we don't want to just put scriptures on there, we want to live it out. And so I'm glad that I was able to say we belong to this church. So it's not just Embrace Me, but it's a church that's embracing you also. Pastor Dan has allowed us to have this ministry here, and that's a great pastor.
Yeah, it is.
And so I remember you came up to me afterwards and you said, I go to Water of Life. I'm like, oh my God. Well, I got so excited, right?
Yeah, of course. It's actually been very fun. And with everything that happens during foster care, it's very easy to let go, to disconnect with God, and not have faith. It's very, very easy and very hard as well to regain it. So for me to have to live a block away, because I lived a block away from here, and come here and have been awakened and have been able to regain my faith was very amazing, and it just made everything that much easier. And then for me to meet such wonderful people that came to the same church that very day was very exciting for me. I didn't really know that this program was here. But it was very, very interesting. And of course I kept coming back up until I got very buried into my studies. But it was very, very exciting to know, you know, people really cared, and that God not only gave me my faith back and hope, but we're able to put these people in our hearts and in our community to help out, especially in the university.
Right. I know you were in foster care, and I know it's a sensitive subject, so you can share as little or as much as you want, but I just want to, I'm just getting to know you myself. I don't know any of these answers. They're not pre-approved, but because God's in control. But I would like you to share a little bit about, like, how long were you in foster care?
Of course. Well, I was in foster care until I was 15. Even till now, I'm still in foster care. I'm in continued foster care. It's a program where you're under the government's care until you're 21. Getting into foster care, at first I came out of a very, very abusive home, both from my mother and my father. So to get out of that was also very hard because it's all I ever knew, and it's all I grew up with. Foster care was very harsh at first, and it got easier in time because you got used to stuff. But being there for 5 years, I feel like I've really learned a lot and connected with God, like, so much before than I even ever thought I would. So it was hard, but also very, very exciting to have lived. And I experimented with so many things, with religious and spiritual things that I would have never thought I would have had a chance to do or to live with. So it was very different, very different.
Well, we want you to know that you're in a safe place here.
Thank you.
We thank you for sharing that, and I'm sorry that you had to go through that. But like you said, that God can use any situation and bring, good out of it, whatever happens in our life, to bring them closer to Him. But so I want to know, what possessed you to go to a university? Because I know the percentage of people coming out of high school. A lot of them are, there's a book out there that says, like, why, the pros and cons of pursuing a higher education. So I know that was a big choice for you. And how was it that you decided to enroll in university?
Well, it was huge. Coming out of high school was very easy for me the first couple of years up until I got into foster care. Got a little more rocky, a little harder. I felt a lot more stressed, and I felt like I wasn't even going to finish high school. But I was able to manage, and I finished high school, and I wasn't even thinking about college. When I got my diploma, I wanted to work. That's what I wanted to do. I didn't know how I was going to get by with all the things that we're missing in a foster home, because we don't get everything that anyone would expect or anyone gets in a home, with their family. So I thought, I can work and get my own apartment and get out and make my life a little better than how it was when I was into foster care. I was pushed in a mentoring program as well to go to college, but I wasn't very open to it. But there was one day where I came to church, and it was very interesting because I met other kids and other teenagers here who had been in foster care. I met 2 others actually, and when they spoke to me, they spoke with such faith and such hope, and they were going to actually attend college as well. They had a year behind me though. But the faith that they had, the encouragement, really opened up my eyes to research college and to learn more, not only for myself, for me to better my life or succeed, but to be able to say to other kids that, I made it and they can make it, because there are kids out there who don't even think about getting their high school diploma. So for me to look into that was a big step for me, especially because I didn't have college in mind. And once I did look at it and I found, different programs, and I went to a couple meetings and 2 tours actually I took from the school. The first one didn't encourage me very much, but the second one did, mostly because the girl who was giving our tour was also in the Christian program there on campus. And when I talked to her, she looked so happy and so freed and so relaxed, and I wanted that. And so I applied and I got in, and I was very surprised to have received a letter so quickly. And I was excited. The only thing that really scared me was the move. That's the only thing that I was really, really nervous about, because going to school and furthering my education really got me excited. And to help in another mentoring program with other foster kids also got me excited, which is why I took that move. I took that step to move in the dorms and not stay in a foster home, because I did have the choice to go to college and stay in a foster home. But as soon as I found out that they had a foster program on there and I could become a mentor, or I could become part of this mentoring program, I really took that step with a lot of faith and, of course, God watching over me.
You're a courageous young lady.
Thank you.
So we applaud you for that. Now, what support, you were talking about there are programs there, so is there support in colleges for foster youth? Is it spiritual or financial or academic, or what type of support do they provide?
It's more academic. It's more academic and financial support that we get. Not very much spiritual, because like I said, there is a Christian group on campus, but it's more just for everyone. It's not focused on certain people. You never see anyone talk about foster care, about abuse, about anger, or maybe someone's having problems with health problems with their family. It's more of so for you to relax and not to lose track and have faith in God. So for me to say that I got help with what I had been through and an emotional support, I can't say it's entirely. I mean, you do make friends out of this the foster program that I'm in, where they help you financially as well as with your studies, but you do get some support. But I feel like you have to be very involved with that group for you to get it. If not, I feel like there is no emotional support. It's more educational and and financial. Right. So it's very, very hard to find those very few people who would support you no matter how much into foster care you are, because it's more of oh, that girl was in foster care or that guy was in foster care. Oh, well, they have problems. We should just probably, let them be, or not pay attention to them because they're problematic, or we're going to get in trouble with them. It's always been more like that. So it's hard. Yeah, it's been hard. It's hard, but you find those few people that do support you, and it makes college a little easier.
Well, I don't think our support group here is age inhibited. So we want you to know that we have a support group here the last Saturday of each month at this time, 5 o'clock, and that you're welcome to come here for any type of support that you need, whether it's prayer or financial or just emotional, whatever it is. We want you to know that you're welcome here.
Okay, well, thank you. It's very great to hear.
Okay. And so I know that I texted you a question, because you guys, everybody does texting. Nobody called. So you have to text the young people to get a response. I got teenage boys, I know. They don't answer my call. They'll only answer my text. So we texted, and I asked you, what is how could we help you? And honestly, your response, it just really, it shook me up a little bit, because it made me sad. It made me sad that you don't have a laptop. It made me sad that you have to spend your time in a library, looking at books, because you don't have books where you could just lay on your bed and do your homework, like an ordinary, quote unquote, like I imagine it, like people imagine it when kids are going to college, so it just really, and even the food aspect of it, when you said about not having enough money to, eat on campus because it's very expensive.
Right.
I'm like, oh yeah, I remember my daughter when she was at, her college, that I remember her saying, well, first of all, the food was terrible.
Of course.
So like, who wants to pay more money for, you know, but it was convenient because you don't have an automobile, what have you, so it's kind of a catch-22, and it really just broke my heart. I just want you to know.
It was kind of hard.
With that said, I mean, you're welcome to elaborate on that. What is that situation?
It's hard because we have to have learned to budget very early. Like I said, it wasn't that much easier in foster home. The only thing was they always had food for you, and transportation if you needed it when it was mandatory. The only difference in college is that, like you said, the food is bad and expensive. You don't get much help. Whatever you have to pay, it's with your financial aid. And unless you work on campus, which is very hard because there's already sophomores, juniors, seniors that have had experience, that have been there longer, who get hired way before you do, especially if you don't have experience. But to get that money, like to always have money even to eat for the week is very hard because you have to, there are times where you can only maybe an apple and a water, and even the water is expensive. So like you'd have to maybe buy a water bottle or save your cup because you can either go refill it or go to a water fountain and fill it with that. But there are things where there are classes where we have to pay for materials that are needed for the classes. So that takes away more from our food budget and maybe our transportation budget because sometimes, you know, we want to go visit our families and we have to maybe take the bus or have a ride and give gas money. So that would take away from as well. And it's already all very limited what we get. It's usually, the only thing we get is usually what is left over from our financial aid and what we get a month maybe from other help or like our parents. Some of us, our parents do help. Some of us, our parents don't help at all. So it's even harder for those who don't have their parents chipping in even maybe $10 a week, $20 a week. It's very, very hard. And then there's book expenses, and you know sometimes we need notebooks and paper and all that, which is really great. That came with that packet that we first got at the beginning of the year is very helpful. But even then, we have to then spend our time at the library, like I said, at the library studying because we can't take the books out of the library. Or the books are checked out and you have to wait at the library for it to check back in and you can take it out. If not, other people will take it, so that's hard, especially with the books being maybe like $200. Right. The cheapest book I've bought so far is probably like $50, $75, and that was of course out of my financial aid, what I get back. And then again, that leaves very little for food, so you have to be really budgeted. And if you don't want to buy food on campus with the money that you have, you can go to a grocery store. But then again, we don't have like refrigerators or anything to keep everything cool, so we can't be going to buy groceries either. Because if we do, then there is a shared fridge, but the food is gone. Oh. You can't trust anybody there, and it's very hard to have something in the fridge and then not have it the next day. So a lot of people also don't buy food at grocery stores because of that, because we don't have anywhere to put it, to savor it. I know for the first 2 weeks that I was there, all I did was buy fruit because my room was so cold, I can keep the fruit there for long periods of time. So that's all I would eat. And I carried a water bottle with me, a refillable water bottle. So I would drink water and eat fruit. And it was hard because I would want other food. Because we get tired of having the same food over and over and over again. But and then there was a time where my financial aid didn't come in because there was a hold on my account that needed to be cleared by the school. And sometimes the school can take 2-3 weeks to clear it, even if it's not your fault. So then there goes again 2-3 weeks without having food because you don't have the money or the resources to get that food. and it's just really hard, especially when you don't have friends when you first come in your first year.
Right.
And being in foster care is very, very hard to make those friends that will be willing to give you anything or help you out. So it's very, very challenging.
Wow. Well, thank you. You're going again this year.
Of
So
course.
You survived.
Of course.
And with God's help and anybody else's help, I know if you want to help, go to www.embraceadoption.com and you can donate there. So we're gathering the items, and we're also taking gift cards and any other donations that we can to help you. And do you know how many other foster kids are there?
Right now I know like 7.
Mm-hmm.
7 others that are there that I know have also been struggling.
Mm-hmm.
I have been able to help out a little bit, out of what I get and out of, the part-time job that sometimes I have, sometimes I don't have.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a struggle, and if we don't stick together, then, who's going to help us out?
Right.
But thankfully we have God on our side, and everything's been a little better.
Right. I know last night I was at an event here at the church, and they were talking about reaching out to orphanages, and of course I had to stand up and say something, because I said, yes, orphanages. I just want everybody to know that we do have orphanages in the United States, and it's called the foster care system. And so I want you to know that I am being your voice. These people that are here are also supporting you, praying for you, and I hope that you can feel that on your everyday, that when you feel down or out, that you know that we're here, and that we pray for you. We pray for you, and we just really are there to embrace you. So
Thank you.
Is there anything else that you'd like to share?
I think not. I feel like college was a different experience. I feel better. It was way better than being in foster home, after foster home, after foster home. For me to be on my own and be stable, or at least somewhat stable, and be completely focused on my education was a relief.
Well, we're really proud of you.
Thank
I've been
you.
to college, and I know how hard it is. So, we just want to encourage you to, to endure and stick it out, and I'm sure you'll reap the benefits at the end.
Thank you.
We look forward to working with you and staying in touch. And we'll open it up to if anybody has any questions. Is there anybody here with any questions or thoughts, ideas? Would have you, Tracy?
What are you majoring in?
I'm an international business and marketing major. I'm a double major.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It just means I have to work twice as hard. Yeah.
Well, you seem you have the spirit to do that.
Okay.
I know that when I went to college, I had very little means to get through too. We went through like a rehabilitation kind of. It's through the state as well, and they had like counselors, and they had caseworkers that helped you with finances, and everything you needed was on a list. I don't know if they still have that available, but it'd be nice to find out.
I have looked into other help, especially with my social worker. She's been sort of helpful. It's hard to maintain touch with her, having so many kids already on her case. But San Bernardino's cutting back. They're cutting back on a lot. We used to get clothing money for the year, maybe $300 for us to buy clothes for the new school year. San Bernardino County doesn't get that anymore. They don't. Everything that comes out of for school supplies has to come out of I know foster parents' money. So me being in college, not having a foster parent anymore, I don't get that benefit. So it's hard. It's very hard, and I would have to go maybe to like the 99-cent store, go when there's rollbacks at Walmart and do all of that because of very little support and all the huge cutbacks that San Bernardino County has made has really affected all of us. And it's hard to find those programs and actually get accepted into it because now you have to apply for it, have to apply to get help. And it's hard to get into it. I know I didn't get accepted into any of that help, but thankfully there has been kids who I've heard have gotten accepted, and for them to be helped with that, at least that very little, it makes a bigger difference than anyone would think. So, yeah. You're welcome. Yes.
Is there anything being in foster care that you could think that we as people, like, you know, in Embrace or even outside of Embrace, or just as like the general public could do more than we have been doing, that you kind of have a lead into having been there?
I feel like foster kids are more in need of counseling because they're alone all the time, because they don't go out, because they don't have families to take them out, because they don't have that opportunity, or that even sometimes foster parents won't even let them go out with their friends or anything. So we don't have liberty at all. I feel that's why I needed counseling, according to my social worker, because I didn't go out at all. For my summers, I stayed in all the time, and whenever I got out, it's because I went with my foster mom to maybe the grocery store or to get gas. That was the only time I got out. So I feel like even just taking someone out to the park, spending time with them really helps out, especially on the whole emotional connection and the whole emotional awareness and all of that. I feel like that really helps. Just a small thing like taking someone out to the park really changes them, because they have that liberty, at least with someone who cares about taking them out and spending time with them, not spending money on them, and not, like I would say, feeling sorry for them, because a lot of kids, just because other people support them financially, I feel like they feel, I know I felt very, very felt sorry for, like, they were feeling sorry for me, because I never really got to see those people who gave me stuff for Christmas. I was very, very grateful, of course, but to not be able to meet them and to not spend time with those people who gave so much to me was really hard. Not only because I didn't meet them, but because I didn't spend time with anyone. I didn't get to go out. So me being able to go out, me have gone out even around the corner with that person would have made such a big difference.
Wow. That's quite a bit. Yes?
You're the exception, because a lot of foster children fall by the wayside, and I was a foster parent. What was it that got you to this point where you are now, going to college? You look like you're on your way. And did you have support groups or people around you, mentors? Because you're on your way where a lot of other foster kids, they're going a different direction.
Of course. What supported me the most was looking at myself when I touched rock bottom. When I tried something I never in my life would have thought I have tried, and seeing my foster mom, the last foster mom, I completely adored her. And till this day I keep visiting her, but to watch her be disappointed in me, to watch me have gone to a point where I never would ever have thought I had gone to. And for me to have lost myself so much because of the loneliness, the depression, and the absence of the love that I craved so much, it really opened my eyes, because I looked at myself and saw someone I didn't like, someone who I wanted to change, and someone who I never thought I'd become ever. The person who I saw in my nightmares I had become, and I felt that all these younger, because I was the oldest one in my foster home, and all these, my younger sisters watching me be like this was just heartbreaking, because they looked up to me and I looked at myself and I didn't like who I saw. And that really woke me from when I took my first step towards getting my high school diploma and being, everything that I knew I could be. And really God really also opened my eyes, because that's when I first opened the Bible. And I knew that me, myself, who I wasn't acceptable. Not to me or to him, who had been put me through something that made me so strong. And for me to let him down and myself was heartbreaking to me. It was really hard. But I made it, and I am so happy I was able to do that.
With you.
Of course.
Yeah, let's give her a hand.
Thank you.
Well, we're gonna go off camera, but we can continue asking if there are more questions. We can continue on, but we'll go ahead and sign off. And thank you for coming and sharing and being so transparent.
Of course. Thank you for having me.